The New York Jets posted on X, "We have informed Aaron Rodgers that we will be moving in a different direction at quarterback." My question to you, Tauscher, is this. Since when do we post on social media that we've informed a player that we're moving on? What is this?
Doesn't happen often.
What are we doing here? I don't understand it.
Well, I think you want to control narratives. And if this was, I think there was, Diana Rossini reported that the Jets were talking, and if, Rodgers is going to come back, you can't do McAfee. And I think sometimes you just are like, let's just be done with this. You don't see it often. It's typically the canned, we appreciate your time, or, hopefully you and your family have great, blah, 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 and that's it. And that's usually the canned response. This seems a little more, I just want to get this thing done, and so we can start moving forward with what we're going to do, and there's no questions about what our thoughts are moving forward at the quarterback position.
So you mentioned that report from Diana Rossini of The Athletic.
Who, by the way, she's been right. Remember when she did the $50 million? And she's been right on. She's got a really good source within the Jets operation.
She clearly does. And maybe it's Woody Johnson. But you mentioned part of it was that they wanted him to stop going on the Pat McAfee show. They were, according to her story, Aaron Glenn, the new head coach, and the new GM, Darren 𝙒𝙀𝙁. Am I saying that right? 𝙒𝙀𝙁?
I don't know. Sounds right.
They met with Aaron Rodgers after the season, and they were open to him returning, but he would have to participate in all the offseason team activities and stop going on Pat McAfee. Obviously, they're moving on anyway. My question for you, going back to what we were discussing with him, does he want to play badly enough, potentially, that if the next team were to say, look, we don't want you doing this. If you want to be our quarterback, you got to be here for everything, no trips to Egypt, and you can't go on that show every week. Would he accept those terms to play for anybody?
If he is dead set on playing another year, yes. That's why I think you're going to see more of the in case of emergency break glass type situation for him. Because I don't sense, and I don't sense he's in the place in his life where he's interested in having a bunch of riders put on what he's going to do. He, I think, realized that his last year in Green Bay when he didn't do all the stuff, he righted that when he went to New York. He realized he should not have done that. He should have been there and done the things. Now, that doesn't mean he needed – I'm fully in his camp on the mini camp scenario of last year.
Yep.
He was there all offseason. He told the team what was happening. That was a misstep by the Jets, in my opinion. If he wants to play bad enough, yeah, but I think he realizes that if that rider is put on, they probably don't really want the Aaron Rodgers of who he is to come and play quarterback for them.
Yeah, and
would he want to go to Tennessee, who's not even? I mean, I know he's got, I don't know if he built a house down there or whatnot, but he's got his crew down there, so that part of it would make sense. But does he want to go to a team that's going to be just god awful? I don't know.
I mean, teams turn things around quickly all the time in this league, right? I mean, it does happen. And if he plays, remember, if you look at his numbers,
I've looked at their skill guys. They don't have scary Terry McLaurin or Eckler. I don't even know who they got down there in Tennessee. I don't even know.
By the way, I think it's important to include from Diana's podcast. She also said, and I quote, "I think no matter what the Jets were going to say, Aaron Rodgers wanted to move on. So he didn't want to be there either. So neither side really wanted to keep it going for another year."
Yeah, it's always easy to say that after someone tells you, well, we're good, and then you're like, well, I'm good too.
Well, I don't think Diana, judging from the way Aaron Rodgers has treated Diana Rossini publicly, I definitely don't think she talks to him.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 1 in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, starting running back.
He's had some good years. Jesse, go back to that.
I hope he goes. I want to see him keep playing.
I do too.
Selfishly, I would love to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it happening
Vikings.
unless it's a break glass.
He is going to be designated a post-June 1 cut so they can split up the $49 million in dead cap money that it will cost them to part ways with Aaron Rodgers. Nick in Wanakee via the Carbless talk and text line. Liss is more. This is the New York Jets making sure that they commit and don't have second thoughts in a few weeks. By putting the post out now, they're committing themselves to separating from Rodgers. They want to make sure they don't give themselves the opportunity to be stupid. I don't know about that. What I do know is that this is Aaron Glenn saying, I am not going to do what Robert Saleh did. There are going to be very clear-cut if this guy is because let's be honest, they don't have a quarterback option now. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be the answer. They could bring back Sam Darnold when he hits free agency as a new guy from the last time they had him. But this does, and this is why I think Aaron Glenn kept his options open. This does leave them with an uncertain quarterback situation. And now they're going to be in the market. Are they going to go get Justin Fields? Russell Wilson? Like, they still have to figure out who's going to play the position for them next season. So maybe Aaron Glenn was open to the idea of if he would do what I wanted him to do, I would actually take him back. Maybe. I don't know that. Jeriad in Canton, Ohio.
If they wanted him back, they would have not done what they did. So.
I agree. I just think it's weird. Is it common for teams to dictate to players what media and shows they can and can't do? I've never heard of that. And honestly, if this is a common thing or not. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of players that do something as high profile as the Pat McAfee show every week.
I don't know.
I'm not done.
Okay.
On a weekly basis on a legacy media platform, right? Like when it was YouTube, it was one thing. It's on ESPN now. Like there's plenty of guys that do their own podcasts, as you have pointed out. But I don't know who else has anything. Like there's plenty of players who did what Rodgers did with me back in the 2010s. Mm-hmm. That's not uncommon. But on a national scale every week, and then to the degree that he would say things on there without very many guardrails, I think that I could tell you this, the Packers were concerned. They listened closely every week to the show when he was doing it with me in 2011 through 2014. And there were things that he would say then that certain people in the organization were not happy about.
Like what?
Imagine what the Jets were.
Like what?
I'd have to go back in the archives and look.
I'm sure you have one that pops. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought it up. There's got to be something that pops.
No, there's not one that pops. But there were plenty of instances where people would bring stuff up.
Dazzling detail. Good stuff. Dazzling detail. Jason, listen, McAfee's up here. Over. McAfee's obviously a big high profile, and you said Aaron, but let's not kid ourselves. I think all these quarterbacks, Tom Brady did a thing with Jim Gray every Monday night on national radio.
Right, when he said nothing, though. But that's the difference between Rodgers and all these other guys. Like, I don't even know if Josh Allen has a radio show in Buffalo. Because he doesn't say stuff.
Let's go, Buffalo.
That's inflammatory or gets headlines the way Rodgers does.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't.
Don't you agree?
No, I just said I can't argue that. Yes.